Look, I'm not gonna lie, regardless of my own opinions and leanings regarding the military-industrial complex, and especially regarding the 2006, Iraq war situation, I gotta say that regardless of all of that, when it comes to the men and women who served in those battles and have been for years and years and years, and probably years to come, I mean, dude, I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I salute you. Respect. Major respect for anybody and everybody that had to go through this kind of shit.
Enemy on our building and all surrounding buildings.
Roger that. Stand by. Going hot.
You gotta get ready, man. This is gonna hurt.
On my count. 1, 2, 3.
And today we have Warfare. It's still playing in theaters as of me recording this review. I'm probably too late to the train. I technically saw an early access showing a couple days before it was supposed to come out, so I get the hesitancy. I've never been crazy about war movies myself. Only in the last few years have I started to watch some of the greats. And this one is kind of in that vein of not necessarily glorifying the war efforts, but just not shying away from the atrocities being committed or the suffering and the stress and anxiety therein. And yes, before I even really get into the review, I did love this movie, personally. For me personally, it ticked all the boxes. A24 has once again produced a banger. It was directed by Alex Garland. Well, co-directed rather, but Alex Garland, first and foremost, is the name that you would recognize. I most recently covered him when I did my review for Civil War, which I really liked, even though I admit between the marketing for the film and the film itself, A24, you naughty boys, a little bit of subversion of expectations, I might, if I do say so myself. But he is undoubtedly most known for his work in films like Ex Machina, Annihilation, are the most well-known, but also his most praised works, with the help of co-director Ray Mendoza. It's not his first feature film experience. It involves, Mile 22, The Warfighters, Live to Tell, The Terminal List. Basically, he's been involved in armed conflict and served himself, and so he's always been someone to help make that media. Like, he's a point of reference, right, for both consultation, but also for creating that said media and making sure it's accurate. So those that disagreed about the messaging and the plot of Civil War, everybody seemed to agree on the fact that it was an excellent representation of combat. When there was combat, military, whether it was just civilians in Hawaiian t-shirts and flak jackets, or whether it was the last vestige of American military versus some other paramilitary troops that were coalescing to take down the wannabe third-term president incumbent. At some point, him and Ray Mendoza get in a room together. Ray's like, hey, you're a great director, and Alex Garland is like, hey, you were, veteran, thank you for your service, awesome job, good work, let's tell a story together. And that's how we now have Warfare, which is literally a movie about a real-life group of people that were involved in the Iraq War in 2006. I believe they were known as the Bushmasters, and it's a real story of just one encounter where they're kind of hunkered down in this family's house in Iraq. They're assaulted and flanked, using just some vague military terminology here. They basically are under siege in an unknown territory in a foreign land, and they're trying to evac, and they're having a lot of difficulty doing it safely. That's what the movie is. It's like 99% of this film is in real time regarding this one particular, let's just call it a mission, right? And this extraction that's trying to occur, and that's the film. I mean, I said I loved it, so let's get into the positives, right? First note I put was fantastic, no notes. I agree. Aside from a little bit of preamble to kind of establish the brotherhood of these men, and then show them going to this house, just occupying a random family's house in Iraq in '06, and then once the next day dawns and then they're on the stakeout, the rest of the movie is all completely in real time. I mean, edited in such a way where you wouldn't, there's obviously cuts throughout the entire film, but the way that it's portrayed and executed is all real time, just about on the cusp of an hour and a half. And for me, that is super intriguing and impressive, and the way that it was done kept me and all the other audiences out there engaged. It's done in a very skillful way, because I mean, real time in a film, most people might have a lot of dead air, right? But no, they did a really good job of keeping the momentum and the pacing up in this film. And this thing flew. Like, once you were in it, I was just in it with the characters and from situation to situation, and you're vaguely aware of the passing of time, even to the point where characters in the movie are like, evac in 10 minutes, sound off, 10 minutes, yeah, evac out in 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Even though people are literally actively calling out ETAs in time, you're just sitting there, you're glued to your seat, your eyes are on the screen, and you're like, man, you're just in it. And then the movie ended, I was like, oh man, it's over? And they show footage at the end of the film, and I'm sure there's a plethora of behind the scenes footage. The filmmakers, everybody involved in this worked with the veteran, I mean, I'd assume the surviving or whoever's left of the Bushmasters to accurately tell this story. I mean, like, talk about taking the minutes here, right? Like, as far as I can tell, they didn't shy away from any of it. People are actively making mistakes. People are experiencing shell shock. People are getting grievously wounded. People are either panicking or are trying to think through situations, and I've been in stressful situations before, right? Nothing compared to this, and I can't imagine the feeling of being in an active combat zone like that in a foreign land especially, and you're waiting for backup or help to arrive, and maybe your friend's hurt and the adrenaline's already spiking. There's constant sound of gunfire and shots ricocheting outside of the walls around you, and you're having to tunnel vision and give orders and think of a plan and strategize and try to somehow like get through the adrenaline and the fear and the encroaching fear and panic. And some people, understandably so, would just cave to it, and they're freaking out. And one guy's like, hey man, I know you're the squad leader, what's the next move? And he just looks at him and he's like,
I'm fucked up.
I can't do it right now. I need you to assume command. I'm not all there right now. I'm shook. Like, and that's real talk, man. I didn't see the whole podcast, but I saw a clip where Will Poulter, an actor that I previously mentioned in my review for Death of a Unicorn, he recalls getting the call for this film.
When he told me that it was a war film, like, and I've told you this, but like my heart sunk a little bit, and I should have known better because it's Alex Garland.
Right.
And it's A24. My heart sunk because I thought there are so many films that depict war,
Right.
actively kind of like glorify it or romanticize it. Alex said to me very early on that I like latched onto was this idea that he wanted to challenge the Hollywood grammar in how war films are sort of made, and remove the fictionalization, create something that is a very literal recreation of the events so that you can see the kind of horrifying like consequences.
You know, people that you knew as brothers for months in training or through missions can, like, in the blink of an eye, IED goes off and it's like, oh dude, Fred's gone. I don't know if I'm cut out for it. Probably not. I got soft hands, man. look at this. This is what I'm cut out for. I yap online about movies and stuff. I'm not out there in active combat being like, oh, God! Taking shots and being shot at. I've never been in a situation like that, so I don't know if I would survive. Not to mention, I don't know if I would crumble under the pressure. You start off the film and they're all like having a good time. You've seen the promo material online, but if not, no spoiler, this is part of the trailer for all the marketing, but it's that old video of that pervert in the yoga class from the Follow Me. I don't know if you remember discovering that, but I, as a child in like the high school, saw that. I was like, oh yeah, this is great song, this is the wonderful art. And then my female friends were like, dude, come on, it's alright. If you want to be a pervert, you can be a pervert, that's fine. But yeah, they don't glorify any of the wartime. They're there to do a job, and then shit goes sideways, and they're just trying to figure it out, man. And it's intense, and it's pulse pounding. There's one solid jump in the movie that was like, like, it got me. I jumped out of my seat. It's cool because these actors went through like a 3-week boot camp, basically, where not only did they all bond together, but they learned actual terminology and how to actually move as a unit and together as one. And you see it moving into a room, tap on the shoulder, move forward. Okay, I got my stuff. Tap, tap. We move back out. Cover you. You're out of the room. All right, cover. Trying to help each other, even if their friend might already be dead, and then trying to come to terms with your injury. And one guy leg is messed up, and he's just, from that point on, he's just a mess, and you're like, yeah, I would be too, man. Intense and gruesome, yet true and necessary. This is not a movie for the faint of heart. It is a hard R rating, not only in language, but in violence. I love horror, and I love gruesome imagery in film. Some of this stuff made me go like, oh god. And it's based off a true story. They had the video afterwards of a guy rolling up in his hover-round or wheelchair or whatever, and you're like, Jesus, that was the guy. How do you come back from that up here, man? And this film calls attention to that. Accurate depiction of trauma, adrenaline, injury, casualties, accidents. It's all shown well, etc., etc. The direction is great. It's solid. It's organized, and yet it's hectic. It shows the chaos, and it has moments of quiet before the storm. There's moments in the storm. The audio coming in, so you either have the cacophony of gunshots going off around you, or you have, an explosion went off, so now tinnitus. Even if somebody's just overwhelmed by the situation, all these voices, radio commands in your ear, drowning out into a symphony of discordant voices and warbles, and just the movie does a great job of putting you in one soldier's headspace after another as we shift around. And then whether it's light coming through red curtains in a room, bathing somebody who's already covered in their own blood in further shades of red, foggy, sandy, smoky streets after an explosion goes off and you're confused and dazed and trying to find your way through. It's just simplistic in its brutalist nature, if you want to put it that way. There's no complaints about this film. I would say if you're not big into war movies in general, skip it. If it's something that's a little bit hard for you to watch, like, it's a compelling story with characters that you want to see make it out of this one way or another, because we start with them, we're on their side inherently, so you want them to succeed. But it's gruesome, it's violent, it's laced with profanity, and it's not, like I said, it's not for the faint of heart. But if you can stomach all of that, it's a great movie. We're not saying too much, not some big message about the world or about, what it means to be a human or alive. But I have no notes. I loved it. I would give Warfare a solid 5 out of 5. In my mind, it accomplishes exactly what it set out to do. I loved my experience of the movie, and I think the movie was perfect. Literally, by my own metrics of quality of a film and enjoyment of it, it was perfect. No notes. I'll definitely be buying it when it comes out. I would love to watch it again. That's all I gotta say about Warfare. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. Have a good day, have a good night, and as always, goodbye, travelers.